All right, ready for a deep dive. We're tackling becoming a healthcare institution manager today. Yeah, you sent us some really interesting stuff from RoleCatcher, so it seems like you're considering this as a career path. We're going to break it all down, figure out if it's right for you.
Yeah, it's a job people talk about a lot, but we're going to dig into the nitty-gritty, the good and the bad.
And believe me, there's a lot to dig into.
Mm,
RoleCatcher makes it sound like there's some serious earning potential. Who doesn't love that, right? And the stability. Healthcare will always be important, but it's not all sunshine and roses, right? Demanding work, possible burnout, and we're going to explore all of it.
it's definitely a job where the highs are really high, you're impacting lives, you're shaping how healthcare works, but the lows can be tough. Too hard decisions, long hours, pressure. You really got to know yourself.
That's why we do these deep dives. But before we go too far, what does a healthcare institution manager do? It's more than just a title.
They're kind of like the conductors of this big, complex healthcare orchestra. They make sure everything runs smoothly in hospitals, rehab centers, really any healthcare place. Supervising staff, dealing with budgets, which are never big enough, and of course, all those healthcare regulations that are always changing.
So it's not even just about knowing medical stuff, it's the whole system. One thing that really jumped out at me in the RoleCatcher guides was how important soft skills are. They even listed active listening. You wouldn't think that's important in management.
Yeah, but when you think about it, it makes sense. Imagine managing a team of doctors and nurses who deal with life or death situations every day. Active listening isn't just talking, it's about trust, understanding what people aren't saying, and bringing empathy to a high pressure job.
It's like you're not just managing a budget, you're managing people's emotions too.
Hmm.
And that takes being socially aware, which RoleCatcher also mentioned. So where do you even begin with this whole career ladder?
RoleCatcher actually breaks down those typical career steps really well, from entry level all the way up to senior management. And the responsibilities definitely change as you move up. An entry level role might be more about regulatory compliance, like making sure all the paperwork is filled out right. Super important, but not very glamorous.
For sure. So how is being a junior manager different?
That's where you really start using those leadership skills. You're managing people directly, maybe mentoring new staff, taking on more responsibility like patient records, and always keeping an eye on those regulations. It's a lot to learn, but really rewarding if you like things fast-paced.
Okay, so you're a pro at the regulations, managing people, all the paperwork. What does
Yeah.
it take to get to senior management?
Well, imagine this. You're not just managing one department anymore. You're overseeing the whole place.
Wow.
We're talking strategic planning, the big picture stuff, making those big decisions that affect everything. Patient care, staff morale, even negotiating budgets with, the higher ups. It's a whole other level.
You're like the captain steering the ship through those rough healthcare waters. RoleCatcher really seemed to think that getting to that level isn't just about how long you've been working, but about always learning new things.
Oh, absolutely. Healthcare is always changing, right? So whether you're going for a master's degree or getting certified in something, or even just keeping up with new medical technology, you never really stop learning as a healthcare institution manager.
Makes sense. You can't lead if you're stuck in the past. And speaking of staying ahead, let's talk about the interview prep section in these RoleCatcher guides. There was one question that really stood out. How do you ensure your healthcare institution is staying up to date with the latest healthcare trends and innovations? It's a tough one.
Yeah, they're trying to see your vision, how you think ahead. They want someone who sees what's coming, not just reacting to what's already happened.
So you don't just manage what's happening now. You need to be shaping the future of healthcare at your institution. That's probably where RoleCatcher's AI tools come in, right?
Yep.
They have that CV and resume builder, interview practice, even AI suggestions for answering those tough questions. Sounds kind of futuristic.
It is cutting edge. It's using technology to help you put your best foot forward. Like say you're applying to a hospital that just started using a new telemedicine platform. The AI can make your resume highlight your experience with similar technologies, which could make you a better candidate.
It's like a secret weapon for finding a job. So it's clear that becoming a healthcare institution manager is not easy. It takes a lot of dedication, wanting to learn, and being okay with things changing all the time.
Yeah.
But it also seems like the rewards are big.
Definitely. You're not just looking at spreadsheets, you're managing these systems that really affect people's lives. It's the kind of job for a certain type of person, someone who works well under pressure, who really cares about improving healthcare, and who gets that being a leader means always learning and growing.
It's like you were saying, conducting an orchestra, but the instruments are always changing, the music is different, and you got to keep everyone playing together. But there's more to it than that, right? AI is changing everything these days. Healthcare, too. So where does that leave the human side of this job?
That is the big question, and it's something RoleCatcher actually talks about. It's easy to think, well, maybe AI will just do all the healthcare institution manager stuff someday. The data, the schedules, even some of those regulations.
So, like, robots managing robots in the future. Kind of scary, honestly.
Not really. Here's the thing. AI might be great at making things efficient, but healthcare is really about people. Patients need someone to understand them, families need support, even the staff needs a leader who gets them, on a personal level.
So all those soft skills we talked about, listening, being aware of people, those are even more important as AI becomes a bigger deal.
Exactly. The job of a healthcare institution manager might change. Maybe they'll be in charge of AI that helps diagnose patients, or managing teams with humans and AI, figuring out even more complicated regulations because of new technology. But that human part of it, connecting with people, leading with compassion, that's not going away.
It's almost like the more technology we use in healthcare, the more we need those really strong leaders to, show us the way.
That's it. And that's something to think about if you choose this career. Are you ready to not just manage a healthcare system that's always changing, but also be a champion for the human side of healthcare, even as technology becomes more and more prevalent?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
So to wrap things up, it's clear that being a healthcare institution manager is a challenging but rewarding path. It needs someone who's resilient, who can adapt, someone who really wants to work in a complex field and is dedicated to the human side of healthcare.
And for those who are up for that challenge, the rewards are huge, shaping the future of healthcare, being a leader who makes a real difference in the lives of both patients and staff. And don't forget, resources like RoleCatcher are there to give you the knowledge and tools you need.
Couldn't have said it better. That's all we have for today's deep dive. A big thanks to RoleCatcher for all the great information and to you, our listeners, for exploring this with us. Remember, the most fulfilling journeys often start with one question. So keep asking those big questions and we'll keep diving deep to find the answers. Until next time.